Uh, Women's Opportunity Center has been supporting individuals in um, various stages of restarting their life, um, and have been starting over. And we've been supporting them for about 40 years. We continue to support individuals who are traditionally recognized as displaced homemakers in starting over due to major life changes. Continuing our mission to support individuals who are creating a sustainable future after divorce, losing a spouse, or leaving domestic violence or abuse, it is important to have this conversation we are embarking on today. Um, of the survivors that have experienced domestic abuse, 99 have been um, known to been experience some financial abuse. Um, Many as a result of technology abuse. Many individuals have experienced technology abuse, but will not consider that domestic violence, which is kind of why we're having this conversation today. Um, we're more giving you recommendations, tips, and tricks to kind of add to your toolkit. So you can kind of personalize your strategy of how you will go about things in your personal situation. Uh, so if you have any questions, all I ask you to do is to keep your microphone muted. That way I can get through the presentation portion of class, and we will have you enter any questions you may have into the chat. I'm just going to give a second to catch up, and we will start the presentation. All right, we will start the presentation. And again, this is technology, device safety, internet safety, and privacy. Introduction. With technology growing and expanding and becoming a huge part of our everyday lives, it's important for us to make sure in any emergency situation that we monitor our exposure in our location. In this presentation, we'll go over some tips for your toolkit and go over a couple of scenarios. And I'll walk through a couple of the like examples to kind of get you to understand the basics. Important number one is to make sure your internet browser safety is always being established into your strategy. Internet is a helpful resource to establish a safe exit strategy. Understanding how browser history works is becoming extremely important to individual safety. We'll go over some tips and tricks to educate you on how to regulate your search history. So every internet browser has a feature that records your web pages you visit. Information is automatically tracked and stored. Manually clear your browser history to remove evidence of your online activity that could cause aggression. Delete what's necessary to your browser history that it doesn't look freshly cleaned. Sometimes when we're in a situation, somebody may go through our search history, and a clean search history, an empty search history is more alarming than just kind of weaving and picking out the information and deleting those. So I always suggest keeping safe searches in your history. This could be maybe the local news, weather, some recipe ideas are always safe. These can act like a decoy that you are searching other things on the internet and maybe not creating a strategy to leave. The best thing to do is to not cause any more regression or abuse in the situation. Using cognito searching can also protect your search history and the data being tracked. This blocks a lot of it from being stored in what's called your search history, which I mentioned. And another tip would be using maybe a different browser that your partner may use or what they know that you may be using. This can help avoid access to your search history and make it harder to find. Before we jump into that, I will kind of show you what that incognito search is. This is my basic website browser opening screen for Google. Right here is that incognito window. So you'll notice everything goes black. It'll show you this little image of this icon with the guy with the glasses, kind of looks like a private investigator. If this isn't on, it doesn't mean that your incognito search is on. If you read right here, the Chrome will be saving this information right here. So again, make sure your screen looks similar to this to know that you're in the incognito. But we'll X out of this and we'll go to my search history. This could be accessed here by the 3 dots, search history, and we'll click that history button. So this is what I've been on today. If I wanted to clear all these searches here, I would go here, clicked all 5, and I'm going to hit delete and remove. So now my search history is empty, but I can look up local weather. Recipes for quick, healthy dinners. I'm just going to click a couple of things to give us a scenario. So now if I go into my search history, now you can see that's a pretty good decoy of look what my search history might look like to somebody else. And we're going to go back to the presentation. Setting up a new email account. This is going to be the best bet to kind of start consolidating some documentation. Best recommendation is to use a Gmail account. I need to fix that, my bad. Because it will be the best thing instead of carrying around a lot of paper documentation. We'll go into later how it's best to keep a Google Drive stored with all that information instead. Device safety. Constantly changing your passcodes is great. Maybe to something that isn't easily recognized. A lot of people use maybe their birthday, birth year, social security, kids' birthdays, any important life-changing, dates as their passcodes. Try to pick something that's not too hard for you to remember, but also not too easy that somebody could guess. Using 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. Those are passcodes we're going to want to avoid. Using face recognition, but be aware that face recognition still has its flaws. I've heard of cases while somebody is sleeping, they had their face recognition open on their phone. Even using a photo in the household, that may not be the best scenario, but if it would work for you, just be mindful of these situations. Deleting texts and calls from call logs. Instead of using your personal device, here at the Women's Opportunity Center, we have phones and stuff that you could use. Sign out a computer in our computer lab if that's something we need to kind of make sure that you are staying off your personal devices is always an option. And you can call our number and schedule some time in our computer lab, which I'll input into the screen later. Making sure your locations are off, using your location settings. This one can be a little complicated depending on what kind of devices you have. If this is something that you are looking for support on as well, feel free to set up an appointment with us at the Women's Opportunity Center. Taking your device to a carrier store, maybe you got your phone plan through Apple, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint. Having you go there, explain the brief situation, they'll be able to kind of help you monitor your device based off their settings. And that could be the best way to know if your device is being tracked. Change the resource contacts to code names to help disguise. Maybe you come to the Women's Opportunity Center and you have our number in your contacts. Maybe just change it to like a friend's name or something like that would help. Device, it's getting a little low. Change your resource contacts, like I just mentioned. Sometimes you could just change it to your doctor's name. Sometimes you could change it to a local store that you may be affiliated with. This might help just kind of alleviate any questions being asked of who you're speaking with. Never write down passcodes that could be easily accessible to a partner, spouse, etc. Understand the phones could be tracked or tagged. If your battery is dying faster, this could be an indicator, which also means your phone could be aging. But again, tech support through your provider or carrier can help with this situation. And before we get into safety tips, I'm just going to mute and get opportunity to put any questions in the chat. All right, no questions yet. Had to check in on my classroom that was also sitting in. Internet safety tips is where we'll end up next. Use Chrome as your search engine in browser. This is the best way that I can teach how to change your privacy and location settings. Use a library resource center computer instead of your own personal device. Do not use notebooks or diaries to store your passcodes or keep any private information. Tell a friend, mentor, coach, somebody you trust to help hold your information for you. And again, use incognito searching. Before we get into the social media tips, I'm just going to show one more search engine's search history. So this is Internet Explorer. This is the best way to kind of screen your, giving a decoy search history. So this is a lot easier. By clicking the X will permanently delete some of your searches, as you can see. I'm just hovering over one and hitting X, serving X. Another way we can do this is going to the search history to here. And it's kind of the same platform. You can clear all browsing data. You could even hold Control, click a few, and hit delete is always an option. And then you can even filter by date, today, last week, and clear the browsing history. I recently just did that by hand, so none of my search history from today or this week will be on here. Everything that's in my search history is everything that I've searched. So then we'll X out of that, go back to our presentation. Social media tips. Now that social media has become a huge part of our everyday life, it's kind of hard to keep a lot of things private and public. An important part of an escape plan or strategy is understanding that posts are public. Once they're on the internet, they are on the internet forever. Even if you think that you deleted something, there are ways that things are stored in a big internet cloud. So just be mindful and aware of what you're posting, where you're posting, if location settings are on. Once everything's posted on the internet, it could be very hard to gain control of deleting them. So the important part of an escape plan is understanding that posts are public. Even if your account is private, screening through your friends list followers for anybody who's in connection to your situation should be deleted or blocked. Deleted doesn't mean they can't look up your profile. Blocked means they have no access of looking up your profile at all. Blocked is usually the safer option, and I highly recommend blocking. Even if it's friends, affiliation, family members, there's been times where it can be a very manipulated situation getting out, creating a strategy. So even if you think that there might be a possibility that somebody could get involved and manipulate your situation, it's best to block them and block anybody else affiliated with them. Never post photos of your locations or photos that may indicate where you are at all times. For instance, if you moved here from another state and, maybe somebody you needed to get away from knew that you were interested in going to Syracuse University. After you've managed to leave, the last thing you'd want to do is post that you're at Syracuse University. You know, it's a big landmark here in Syracuse, so you wouldn't want to necessarily post any, places you may visit, post and tag any locations that you're in. Not only do you have a risk of being, tagged of your location, but if maybe you went to a neighborhood bar and they decided to share your post, now the whole world knows that you were in their bar. So just be very mindful where you're taking pictures. Maybe you want to make sure your backgrounds are very bland, no stores, no businesses that could be easily Google searched should be posted at all times. Delete photos of yourself, children, etc. that include location tags, school or work uniforms. This is going to be a huge indicator of where you are at all times as well. Also request if you have children to not be posted publicly on any platforms. I know now schools, especially the younger schools, so maybe like a UPK or a babysitter, they may be trying to gain marketing, which is, I understand, but you may not want your child posted on their platform for somebody to know where they are. With that being said, remove anybody from your child's pickup list as well as talking to the school in regards to your situation. App privacy. Even though you think your apps may be private, and going to your phone or device to shut off any locations is important. Snapchat is a huge one. You may think that you're in ghost mode. If you're unfamiliar with Snapchat, I'm sorry, but I just want to give a really good example. You may be in what's called ghost mode, which doesn't share your locations with all your Snapchat friends. Well, if you have that off and you decided to use a geographic filter, which means a filter that may specify where you're located, that's going to give an indicator to somebody. Instagram and Facebook, tagging locations or businesses is going to be very sensitive to your situation. I'd recommend not doing anything like that, sharing any local places towards you post. That could even be an indicator where somebody could locate you. So you just want to be very mindful. Most apps have track locations, whether we realize it or not. Other safety tips: have an escape plan and safety plan in place. If you ever need coaching to kind of set one up, we're here to help support you in any way possible. Another option, getting a prepaid phone. These are phones that you buy from like a retail store. And you can kind of just, instead of going to a phone carrier, you can just buy service cards and upload those to the phone. It's not always safe, effective, or cost effective for everybody, but it is an option I like to throw out there. Keeping Wi-Fi on your personal device as well, instead of using your cellular plan, can help as well. The power of using Google. This is why I always mention to everybody, get a Google account. When creating a Google account, you have free access to online storage, which is similar to like a cloud storage. You can use Google that. You can upload, maybe documentation digitally. So you always have it on you at all times, and you'll need to always log in to be able to access those. So we'll kind of go through what that might look like. Google Drive is a cloud-based storage that will help you store, another typo, I'm sorry, information and documents safely to avoid having physical copies where it can be an issue. So if we go here, I'm already logged in to my Google account. So if I go to the square with the dots, we're going to go down to the green, yellow, blue triangle that says Drive. And this is how we can upload any information. Documentation, forms you may have submitted, and we can upload device safety. I just uploaded our presentation for class today just to give you an idea. It's almost loading. Awesome. So then if I refresh the page, now my device safety is here. I've done this with photos. I've done this with PDFs. I've taken pictures or fax copies and stored them here. The best part about this is that you can organize these in what we call folders, similar to if you were doing it off a desktop. But the best part about this is that you don't have to have the same device to log in. If you were on a library or a Women's Opportunity Center lab computer, all you need to do is just know your login and sign in, and we can get this pretty much anywhere. So I always like to recommend this as the best place to start. Now we are going to pop back. All right, and now we're kind of just ending class. I still don't see any chats yet, but for anybody interested in help with online app, internet, or digital safety, to ensure the best of your ability, feel free to call us at the Women's Opportunity Center. I put the Liverpool phone number here. If you're located closer to Ithaca, our number there will be a better phone number to call, but either office can direct you to the best person to speak with. If you're interested in calling the Ithaca office, their phone number is 607-272-1520. If you ever have any information that you would also like to contact me about, my email, which I'll actually insert here. I'll insert it in the chat, guys. ASherm@womensopportunity.org. And I will also send this recorded video to all of you after class ends. I will have my email there as well. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, we will have this quick 3-question follow-up quiz just to prove that you, paid attention, and that way we know if you have any other questions that you can reach out. Other than that, class is completed, but we will have a follow-up workshop to support more. Issues, concerns, any information that could be helped individually. If you need help with locations being turned off, I can always help support. Aside from that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, our Ithaca phone number is 607-272-1520. Our Women's Opportunity out in Liverpool is 315-991-7611. Thank you for joining me for class today, and keep an eye out for the next coexisting workshop. Have a good day.